Hey, horror fans, this is Vincent DeSanti, the director and writer of Never Hike Alone, and you are listening to the Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode. All right, guys, on to the film review. We continue on with Mike's free-themed month. Mike, go ahead and announce your pick and why you picked it.
Yeah, so originally when it was my month here, it was supposed to be not full movie reviews, but it kind of morphed into just doing a free month, whatever you wanted to do. If you wanted to do a movie, great. If you didn't want to do a movie, that was fine too. So to kind of lighten the load as we head into our big ramp-up month in October, which is a big month for the show every year with a lot of content coming out, I went ahead and picked a short film, which is Dylan's New Nightmare from a few years ago here. Miko Hughes is back as Dylan. Freddy is being played by Dave McRae, who I think does a really good job, honestly, in this role. I think sometimes the makeup doesn't do him favors, and I talk about that in my notes a little bit more. But I think it's good enough for a fan-made film. Not saying it couldn't be better, but people need to remember that Dave's face shape is not the same as Robert Englund's as well. So it's going to look a little different. But I do think he did a really good job of playing that new nightmare version of Freddy that we get. Now, this is one of the few times you're ever going to hear me say this, and I'm going to pre-pause. I wish this was longer. I would like to see how a full-length version of this played out, because I think it was a really good sequel or follow-up anyway, almost like a long trailer is what this movie ended up being. I think finding Dylan as an adult clearly messed up, and Heather Langenkamp playing a character version of herself. Come on, man. That wasn't that bad. Jesus Christ, man. Anyway, I think that they did a really good job kind of starting to tell the story. I do wish it was a little bit longer, unfortunately. But, again, thought it was good. I thought they captured the mood and atmosphere, as I say all the time, of a Nightmare on Elm Street film, in my opinion. But I wish there was a little more weight to it. And, again, double shout out to Dave McRae, who nailed the mannerisms, but more so the voice of Freddy Krueger. He sounds like scary Freddy Krueger. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I'll go next. I thought the film was fine. I do agree with you, Mike. I do wish the runtime was longer just so we could get more. I kind of have the same complaint like we did with Never Hike in the Snow. Like, what we got was good, but there just wasn't enough for me to really super get invested into it. But there was promise there, for sure. Dave McRae, I thought, did a fantastic job. Miko Hughes was good as well. Shout out to him. I've met him before. I'm actually taller than him. Blows my mind. I'm taller than one person in the world. But we actually get some cool cameos here. Friend of the show, Ron Sloan, is in it. We, just interviewed him. Check that out. And I can't remember her name, but the psychiatrist, she was, I can't remember her actor's name. I apologize for that. I'll look it up. But she was in Jason Lives, the greatest Friday the 13th movie. She was the one who got killed on the back of the moped. Shout out to that. That was really cool. Get some Friday nods into a Freddy movie. I thought the film was fine. I do agree with you, Mike. I wish it I would have watched a full length film of this. Hour and 20 minutes. I think it'd been fine. It'd been cool to see. But I thought it was solid. Womp Stomp Films did it again.
Yeah, I've been pretty vocal about New Nightmare being my favorite Freddy movie, so I was excited when I heard about this from writer-director Cecil Laird, and it didn't disappoint. I mean, we said for at least 6 years, as far as I can remember on this show, that you don't need Englund to play Freddy as long as the look is still Robert Englund. And like you guys said, I agree. Dave McRae still kills it. I've seen enough from him here to say, just give him the role. I mean, and you brought up Never Hike Alone. This is right up there with Never Hike Alone as far as quality, which, like you shouted out, Womp Stomp Films, I don't think they would have taken it on if it wasn't up to that quality. But, I said this before air. I think it's better than at least half of the Freddy franchise. Like, it's better than 4, 5, and Freddy's Dead without a doubt to me. And you guys talked about it wanting it to be longer. I actually read where there are supposed to be 4 parts of this story. Now, I haven't heard any more coming down the line, but I mean, this is fantastic. I think it's definitely worth a watch on YouTube, and I do hope they continue going on with it.
Okay. I'll be Jon Snow. I didn't care for it. I had high hopes because, what we saw from Womp Stomp and Never Hike Alone and in the snow and all that stuff, I really enjoyed. And like you, Brian, New Nightmare is my favorite film in the franchise as well. And so I was excited to see their take on it. But my concerns or my issues, I guess, is that while I agree, if it was longer, if it was a full length film, I wouldn't have this grief, but I do because it's not. For it to only be 34 minutes, I felt like there was quite a bit of filler. There's quite a bit of just like character backstory or character building that ultimately doesn't go anywhere that I wanted it to go because it's so short. And then the ending was very lackluster and disappointing to me. I don't have an issue with Freddy's look at all. I thought, for it to be a fan film, I thought Freddy looked awesome. And the sound was great. Like his voice, his cadence, all that was really good. And there are positives to it. But, about halfway through, I realized I was halfway through. And I was like, oh, wow. Kind of wanted more to be happening. And then in the third act, I was just like, bro, you're going to end it like that? Now, I did see also where this is part 1 of hypothetical 4-part installment. If that's the case, then okay, cool. I can handle this being a chapter in a miniseries. But as I watched it, and as it currently stands as a standalone, 34 minutes when over half of it was just like, this isn't doing anything for me, it was disappointing.
What I heard out of that entire thing was that Dustin hates independent cinema. And if anybody hates independent cinema, it is Dustin.
Yeah, I went and watched Twinless yesterday. I watched Splitsville the day before. I just hate independent movies.
You hate them.
That's only because you're rich. That's the only reason you did that.
Regal Unlimited is $20 a month.
I'm not going to disagree with you that like Miko and the psychiatrist ran on too long.
Yeah,
like,
that's
sure. I agree with that.
That scene
I agree with
went on
that.
too long. I don't disagree with that.
And another thing is
Definitely.
the whole time. So I was looking into it before I hit play, and I'm glad you said this, Nico, that you met Nico and he's vertically challenged, because when I saw in his when I was looking it up, I looked at him and I saw that he was 5'4". I was like, God, I hope he doesn't have to come face to face with Jason or with Freddy. Freddy just put him in his pocket and walk away. With all due respect to our shorter listeners.
Rough out here for us short kings. Any more opening thoughts for you to jump into the scene by scene? All right, let's do it. The film starts with title card and a shout out to friends of the show, Womp Stomp Films. We hear a Freddy laugh over Los Angeles as we enter a casting area for Hatchet 5, a franchise we haven't reviewed any movies for yet, surprisingly. Dylan Porter is called to audition, and the casting agent is played by a friend of the show, Ron Sloan. He asks how he knows Dylan and asks if he's related to Chase Porter. He confirms and says he worked with him on Chainsaw 3. He gives condolences and says he was one of the good ones. Joy whispers to Nick, and he mentions him being Heather Langenkamp's kid. He says yes, but doesn't want to talk about it. He hears the Freddy laugh again until Justin begins reading from the script. Dylan acts out a scene with the three until suddenly a light cuts out and distracts him. He continues reciting lines and asks if it was okay, but the three sit stoic until Nick goes into Freddy voice saying they've seen enough. Justin and Joy kill themselves, and Nick is taken over by Freddy. Freddy flips the table over and reveals his look, flexing the glove, saying boo. Freddy says, "You killed me once upon a time, but not once and for all." Dylan fights to wake up and run away as Freddy pursues him. Freddy walks down the wall above the door and puts a razor to his face and says we never got to play our favorite game, skin the cat, as he swipes laughing, and Dylan wakes up from the nightmare. Brian, that's the opening set of scenes. What do you think?
Yeah, hey, didn't we interview this Ron Sloan guy? I'm not real sure. If so, don'tgoouthere.com is where you would find that. But you brought up the Hatchet slander. I laughed at that meta Hatchet slander, mostly because I think those movies are awful, in my opinion. But, maybe we have some listeners that'll disagree with that. But, and my God, I know I said it in my open, but yeah, McCrae. And the sound editing, you brought up his voice, man. That sound editing for that voice is just so damn perfect. But Nora Hewitt, Susie Moore, and Riley Blaylock, the makeup artists, and Mike Rotello, who created The Mask. That's me slow clapping because I thought it was fantastic damn work on McCrae. And not much here, but just a fantastic opening.
Real quick peek behind the curtain here. I was a follower of Dave McCrae's YouTube channel for a long time. It's actually what got me into following the Halloween 2018 rumors and details and videos and stuff like that. So when he was actually a YouTuber / voiceover guy and does a lot of cartoon stuff. So I've seen his Freddy voice impersonation for years and years now. But to see him play Freddy in this setting was so cool because he ramped it up a notch. I'm sure that was some of it done with sound editing tricks and things like that. But Dave does a really good Freddy Krueger voice and a really good Freddy Krueger laugh. So I thought he nailed it here. Like everyone's mentioned, I like this opening with Freddy breathing and laughing here. I think it's a really cool niche idea to keep the new Nightmare universe as a separate universe from the other Nightmare on Elm Street films, right? I mean, again, this is a sequel to a very meta movie. I thought that was great. And shout out to Ron Sloan, friend of the show. He was great for our interview there. The Hatchet meta stuff I thought was hilarious because I'm in lockstep with you there, Brian. I think all of those suck. I never want to watch a movie about Victor Crowley ever again in my life. I'm sure we have. We've never even come close to picking a Hatchet movie for this show, and I don't know if we ever will, unless it's just like paid for by a fan. No idea, Sean Irwin, your band. I will say, Ron Sloan's character, and he talked about it in our interview, turning into Freddy, sort of, by voice and having to play that and get that right, I thought was really well done and synced up perfectly. And I really like his vision of everyone killing themselves here at the table, reminiscent of an OG Nightmare movie for sure. I like this ending sequence a lot here. It feels like one of those really good follow-ups to a new Nightmare movie. And Dave does a great job walking like Freddy here too. That's my last thing. He gets the mannerisms down. He gets the hand with the glove and the walking, and he just nailed it, in my opinion. That's all I had.
Yeah, first of all, the only Hatchet I acknowledge is, two. One, if I need to use a hatchet to make some wood if the axe isn't available. But two, the other Hatchet I acknowledge is the novel by Gary Paulson. In the open here, there's a movie poster when he's walking into his audition for a movie called Strip Club Massacre. Now, I would watch that. It can't be any worse than Screamboat or Jimmy and Stiggs, so we can review that one. Shout out to, like you guys said, Ron Sloan, friend of the show. Glad to see him early here. I love the shot of Ron flipping the table. The light change effect was perfectly executed. And then we see Freddy, and like I said, not bad on his look, and the voice is really solid. All in all, this is a solid open, and at this point, I'm excited about where we're going. I'm really into it.
Yeah, I feel you. The opening was good. Dylan gets out of bed and is disoriented from the nightmare. He takes his shirt off to flex on my fat ass, and we see a picture of he and Heather when they were younger. Dylan is at his therapist, and she asks how he hurt himself. He lies, saying it was a cabinet, but she doesn't buy it, asking what's really bothering him. He says he had a nightmare, an audition dream. 2 people died this time. She asks how as we see flashbacks to it, but he doesn't bring up Freddy. She continues clicking her pen and says using humor as a coping mechanism isn't effective. She asks if the subject of his parents came up, and he confirms yes. She asks if he's checked in on his mother lately. He says she's not well enough to go to the phone. Same loony bin, same day. She gives him some psychology lingo on checking on his mother and how it can help his guilt. She asks about the casting director, but holds back the truth he was used as a vessel by Freddy. Dylan gets antsy hearing of her mother's work in horror films and how he may have childhood trauma from them. He says he's got it under control, and she says she trusts him, but to call if he needs her as he locks in on her, clicking the pen. He sees an instant of her being killed by Freddy as their session ends. He agrees to bring up the nightmares first next time. He drives home as we hear a familiar tune from Nightmare 4 over the Dream Warriors music. Dylan grabs his phone and brings up the psychiatric number, but doesn't call until he gets inside and cracks open a cold one. He asks to speak to his mother, and the nurse is in shock. She goes to see if she's available to come to the phone and puts him on hold. Dylan hears Freddy breathing and laughing on the phone and hears his voice. The nurse picks back up and says she doesn't feel like coming to the phone and check back in a few weeks. He asks her to keep him posted on her and hangs up. Fuck you, Freddy, he says as he tosses a torn shirt into the trash. Brian, that's the next set of scenes, and the next is the ending. Go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I don't have a lot here that you didn't already say. But the shot of Dylan getting out of the bed I thought was great. Calm Down Mike, I was talking about the camera work from Cecil Laird and how he went from landscape to portrait mode. Not Miko Hughes taking his shirt off, but anyway. Another nice homage to the, like Nico mentioned, the Friday franchise in a Freddy movie. After Ron Sloden, that last set of scenes, her name from Friday Part 6, Cynthia Kanya, actually here playing Dr. Silby. Kanya was killed in, like you mentioned, Friday Part 6. The best, I don't know about all that. But we also, another nice little Heather Langenkamp reference. You know, I really wish we could have gotten a cameo in this from her. By the way, I mean, we interviewed her, didn't we? I think we did. Yeah, again, you might want to check that out at don'tgoouthere.com too. And you also mentioned my other part here where shout out to the soundtrack as well. The track playing in Dylan's car after leaving the doctor's house is called Running from This Dream Warrior, which was a combination of part 3 and 4's music. Both fantastic songs. And the last thing I just kind of wanted to bring up, you know, a lot of people kind of were like, you shouldn't play Robert Englund. You should put your own spin on it. But to me, you're not playing Robert Englund. Like, Robert Englund created Freddy Krueger, and like, that is Freddy. And so I don't think you're mimicking Robert's performance as much as you are trying to play that character. And so I think Dave McCrae did a fantastic job. I mean, you know my thoughts about the remake, but this is the direction that I would like to see Freddy moving forward, is somebody portraying Freddy Krueger and Robert Englund's performance of that.
Yeah, I'm with you. And honestly, Brian, I really only hear that when it's a reboot or, you know, like a, you know, restarting of a franchise. It's like, put your own spin on it. And it's like, well, that makes sense in that context. But if you're continuing the legacy of the other films in continuity, why wouldn't you play that exact same Freddy? Like, that makes no sense to not do that. So, and honestly, you know, Dave here he's playing Freddy, but he's playing that new Nightmare Freddy, which is different than the other Freddy. So, you know, in this universe, he even does a little bit of a different one than he would be, you know, if he were doing a sequel to Dream Warriors and he were playing that Freddy, it would be a different tone and mood. You know, he'd be more jokey and stuff like that. So I think, I'm with you. I think Dave knocks that dark Freddy out of the park. I do think it makes sense for Miko's character to be in therapy. You know, if you watch this movie after watching New Nightmare, I didn't. But if you did, I think it would make sense for that kid with what he went through to be in therapy. And I don't know if I believe what this therapist says about dreams. Sometimes I just think I dream stupid shit and it doesn't actually mean anything or make any sense at all. So I'm sure some dreams mean something, but I think most dreams are just kind of just my brain being wiry as hell. I like that we get a Heather Langenkamp reference. I wish, I'm with you, I have it right here in my notes. I wish we could have gotten the cameo. Maybe they reached out. Maybe she wasn't interested. But if they do a part 2, I think it's very easy to slide Heather Langenkamp into this role where she's clearly mentally ill and sick herself. I love the song in the car. I completely agree with you. Running from a Dream Warrior, running from a nightmare. I really like that song as well. Last thing, I like this phone call scene a lot. Having Freddy come in over the phone when he tries to call Heather to scare him, I think is really, really great. So, yep, I'm ready for the end. But I do, up to this point, I'm really into what they're doing.
Yeah, I like the backstory of Dylan and his mommy issues. Like, it adds depth to the character, but I just feel like the therapy scene goes on way too long here compared to the rest of the story in the runtime. And then, when he's driving down the coast, I definitely knew exactly where he was. I've played GTA 5 enough that I could have made that drive for him with my eyes closed. IMDb says that this was only shot in Arizona, but brother, the ocean isn't in Arizona. That was Santa Monica. I've driven that road hundreds of times. But anyway, I don't have much. I wasn't a fan of this set of scenes. I mean, they gave us some character depth, but like I said, for a 34-minute runtime, not much happened, and it felt like a waste.
Yeah, I can't argue that. Dylan tosses and turns in bed until we see a Freddy glove emerge from the sheets and he stands beside the bed. He pulls a trench coat out as well and reaches for the fedora. Fuck you too, kid. I thought that was funny. Freddy finds a dream catcher and laughs, you can't catch me, and slices it. He leaves the room and turns the light off. We're at Dr. Silbe's house now, who is still working. She does not have soft hands. She comments her thoughts on Dylan's regression and thoughts on their session. We get a POV shot outside her house as she says all of these delusions brought on by a cheap horror movie. The recorder messes up, and then we hear the Freddy song, and she's scared now, thinking someone's outside her door, maybe even Dylan. She sees Freddy on her phone wallpaper and tries to leave, but the handle is burning hot. She slams the recorder, and Freddy appears, slicing her arm off. What's up, Doc? She calls him Freddy. He says sometimes. How are you real? That's my secret. Time's up, Doc, and he stabs the razors into her core. One of the few actresses to be both killed by Freddy and Jason. Next morning, Dylan deals with another pesky earthquake and gets out of bed. He sees his doctor's bloody pen by the picture of he and his mom. He finds a torn T-Rex doll and gets a call from the psychiatric ward. It's his mother, voiced by TikTok star Diandra Kruger as Nancy. The film ends with Dylan getting choked up and end credits roll. Brian, that's the ending. What'd you think?
They did such a good job, though, with Heather Langkamp's voice. Like, the way that they mixed it, you couldn't tell. I thought it was great. I do love the visuals here with the Demon Freddy coming into the real world, stretching the fabric of that bed. Perfect. There's a nice close-up shot of his glove here as well. I thought that looked great. Now, maybe I'm in the minority, but I thought the Dr. Selby thing is the only part of the whole movie that I wasn't a huge fan of. Cut her arm. Don't have Demon Freddy cut it off. To me, that's just ridiculous. Like, you're not cutting fucking arm off with a glove. Like, come on. Also, along with her just chilling there afterwards without an arm. And just, come on. Not going in shock, not screaming. I was just like, please be a dream. Like, if this was a dream, at least it would be explained, and it wasn't. I hated it. Now, that's my least favorite kill. I'll say that now. And, although that's not really Heather Langkamp's voice on the other end of that phone, it was a nice little homage. I already said that, but I wanted to repeat it. It definitely left me wanting more. And like we talked about, I mean, there's supposed to be parts to it. I don't know if that'll ever happen. I guess I haven't looked into it enough to know that if they've even started it, or tried a Kickstarter campaign or done anything to try to do more parts. I don't know, but that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, so I will say there's a shot here, and going back to what I said in my open, I'm not saying that the makeup on Dave looked bad, especially for what they made this movie for. A fan-made film by Womp. I think the makeup looked great, but there is a shot where they put a little too much lighting on him, right? And by the way, that happens with the other Freddy, played by Robert Englund sometimes. When he's seen in daylight and too much light, I'm like, his face looks a little bubblegummy, right? Like a little, I don't know, gooey, right? Where if you shadow it correctly and hide it enough, it's scary. It looks like a real burn victim. And so I think there's a shot here where there's like a bright light right on Dave and you can see the ear, and it just looks a little funky, but not bad. Just maybe doesn't hold up to the rest of the film where I think they light him perfectly. But anyway, the tape recorder scene, I think is super fun with the doctor, right? I mean, I think it would make a great kill, a better kill if you had the budget of some of the original ones where you could like really make it gory and fun and very Freddy. I think it would have been a little bit better, but I thought it was fine. And I think Dave is really good here with his one-liners. The good talk line I thought was really good. Fun ending with Heather answering. It made me kind of wanting more, like Brian said. And there's a Dream Warriors cover and the closing credits, which I really fucking loved, as always, because that's a great song. Shout out to Tekken.
Yeah, I like Freddy's hand coming up through the bed and him making his entrance there, and him I don't know why it cracked me up. He kept pulling his clothes out from underneath the sheets. That was pretty funny. I think they did a good job of capturing the essence of Freddy Krueger and his sense of humor. Like, his dialogue throughout this entire project was pretty on point. Like, it was consistent. I liked it. And I like the therapist getting haunted by Freddy, because not only is it well done, but it continues the theme of the franchise of not really having any rules or making a lot of sense. Like you said, Brian, like, he cuts her arm off and she just sits there just like she didn't just lose an arm. And besides that, why is she in it? Why is she even involved? She's just a doctor. But that's fine. And I like the concept of her arm getting sliced off, but I don't like the execution. I think it looked pretty awful. It didn't, like, I agree with you, Brian. Like, she just kind of took it and that's that. But not only that, the arm itself hitting the floor looked bad. And I thought the blood spray didn't look great. But that's fine. You can, budgetary. Like, I get it. So I'm not criticizing that. I just don't think it looked that great. And then it ends when his mom calls him. Like, that's it. That's the issue I have. It's like we're building towards something, and then it's just like, nah, just kidding. It's over. But pump the brakes. There's a mid-credit scene, but it doesn't add anything. It was extremely disappointing. The ending was extremely disappointing to something that I felt had a lot of potential.
Yeah, that's fair. And I don't, I think y'all mentioned as well, I don't know if that was just budgetary or y'all mentioned it's 4 parts maybe. Hopefully we get some more of it, because I don't know if any Freddy movies come out anytime soon. Do y'all got anything on social media? We do not have anything on the gram.
We got one on X, or is formerly known as Twitter. It's from that guy, Millhouse14108. He said, decent fan film with good effects. Miko was great, and Dave McRae did the role justice. Freddy's makeup looks like deep-fried ball sack in a thrift store sweater. Creeping into dreams like the uncle nobody invites to Thanksgiving. Great runtime, too. 5 out of 10 for me. Love the show.
It looked like what? What did his makeup look like?
Quote, now this is his words, not mine, but quote, deep-fried ball sack in a thrift store sweater. Now, I will say, the first time we see Freddy, I thought he looked really good, but when he makes his entrance in this third act and he comes up through the bed, his left eye didn't look as good as the right eye. And I don't think I paid that much attention throughout the franchise. But it was like, you could tell that it was like a mask over some makeup. It just didn't look great.
Yeah, I didn't like the sunken eyes either.
Yeah.
Brian, do we have anything on Facebook?
Nothing on the Book of Faces.
I don't think too many people. I mean, the crazy thing is the kill count has more views than the actual movie, which makes no damn sense. But
what?
No sense.
Yeah,
it kind of
makes sense.
It kind of does. James has got a huge following, and I would have never watched this, to be honest with you, if we're not reviewing it. Just because I'm not a fan.
But I mean, you would
of the
think
franchise.
that if you watch James's version,
You'd
you would
go
think
see
you
the
would
movie,
go and
but-
watch the movie.
Well, here's
Some
the
people
thought,
just tune in for
though,
James's
Brian.
humor.
true.
That's true.
True. But also, I'm sure that people have watched that kill count more than once, so that now you're getting double views.
Yeah, but
on
I think
something that you've already seen.
but I think the kill count's like 1.3 million, and Dylan's New Night was like what 200,000. Like, it's way more.
And I think
it's like way more.
Well,
I think that YouTube views go by IP, not number of actual watches. So, like, if you watch it twice from the same browser, I don't think it counts as 2 views.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know how that
with
works.
200,000 views, they're not getting a part 2, fellas.
that sucks.
That boy
Never Hike
Freddy ain't got
Alone
no
and Never
pulling
Hike in the
power.
Snow did. I mean, the Never Hike movies did really, really well, right?
Freddy ain't got the motion that Jason has. Come on, let's be real.
Facts.
I mean, I don't disagree with that. No, I don't disagree with that. I would like to see another Freddy movie, full feature length. I'd like to see it, but
I would rather
by the
watch
way,
them do a Hellraiser movie.
no,
I would watch it.
no.
We still got to do the
Superman.
new one. We still got to do the new one.
We do need to do the new one.
Hey, the new
That's
one's good.
It is good.
I like
You guys
it.
got any fun facts you wanna
really
share?
quick.
Oh, go ahead, Mike.
No budget, like fully disclosed. The final campaign number, because it was crowdfunded on Indiegogo, the final number they had was $1,869. So I don't know exactly how much it ended up being to make the film, but that's how much they crowdfunded for the film. Those are the only numbers that I could find.
Well, per the kill count, you can't make money on this thing because it's an established character and all that. So all the money they raised, they spent it on the movie. That's why they went so hard with the makeup and the effects and blah, blah, blah.
They never called him Freddy Krueger.
Well, he's not technically Freddy. He's just an entity that portrays as Freddy. And I don't know how I feel about that either, but it was fine.
His mother's movies, not Nightmare on Elm Street. His mother's movies, I thought.
His mother's
so they did a pretty good job of. I'm a whore. Sorry. Shout out to Terry Funk, your favorite wrestlers. Your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, brother.
Got that right. I just have one fun fact, and you know what it is. It's not actual fun facts, just 6 Degrees of David Arquette. Miko Hughes was also in Spawn with Martin Sheen, the great Martin Sheen, who was in Grey Knight with David Arquette.
Nice.
Very nice.
All right, guys, on to our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Dustin, you want to kick us off so you can jot our scores down?
Listen, are we counting the 2 deaths in his audition as actual deaths? Were those were real? Okay.
No, but I hope
kill count did.
I was counting them.
Okay.
Kill count did.
All right, I didn't watch the kill count.
Yeah.
I will count the gunshot to the head as my favorite kill because I thought the splatter looked pretty good. Least favorite kill is the therapist. I mean, that arm. Okay. Anyways, my rating, I gave it a 4 out of 10. It had potential, but there was a lot that felt like filler in a 34-minute time span, and that ending was just such a letdown. 4 out of 10 for me.
All right, I'll go next. My favorite kill, I'm going to disagree and pick the therapist. I thought I kind of agree with Dead Meat James. I like the fact that, you know, there's separations in the knives and the fingers. Like I kind of like the fact that they cut slices out of the arm. I thought it was unique at least. I don't have a least favorite kill. Like I thought all of them were fine. I'm not going to pick one just to pick one. I thought the movie was just fine for what it was. I do wish the movie had a longer runtime, fleshed out more. Because I do agree with you, Dustin, that psychiatry scene just took way too long, and all it did was just yap. It was just yapping about stuff we knew already, really. It's like, do something different with this $44,000 that you earned. Like, writing is free, by God. You know, that's Dustin. Like, he's done a lot of script writing, and he ain't gotten paid for it. But I gave the movie a 6 out of 10. I thought it was well acted, well made for what it was, but it just didn't blow me away either.
I'll go ahead and go. My favorite kill was the opening cast directors. My least favorite kill, like I mentioned, the doctor. Like I thought it was cheesy. Again, I liked it. I do agree with you guys that it's too short. I was hoping that it was just a part 1, but by the looks of those views, it doesn't seem like it's going to be. Unfortunately, the Dr. Silby kill was such a big part of this section of the movie that it didn't really hit with me and kind of brought the score down. I also gave it a flat 6.
My favorite kill was pretty much everyone at the audition table. I thought those looked the best, as far as the effects go. And my least favorite was the therapist. I think with a better budget, that kill could have been really cool, but I thought its execution was lacking. Look, I've kind of said everything, positive that I have. I think Dave is great. I think Nico does a good job kind of reprising a role that you play as a kid. Would probably be pretty difficult because you don't, especially for a short film, you don't have time to really flesh out that build the way you'd like to. But I thought he does a good job in reprising the role. And I think the story is there. I just wish it was longer and they had the opportunity to kind of flesh it out more with a full feature-length script. But yeah, I mean, I think it's really good for what it is. The sound is great. I think the visuals are awesome. They nail the feel of a Nightmare movie. But, I mean, again, there is some filler, like Dustin's mentioned, that I wish, maybe could have been a little bit more entertaining. But then again, New Nightmare doesn't have a lot of that until the end. It's a really long, technical movie until we get to the fight scene with Demon Freddy and Nancy. So I understand that. Anyway, all in all, I gave this movie a flat 7.
Okay. That gives us a composite score of 7.67. IMDb is at a 6.6. Letterboxd, they didn't have enough reviews to give us a score, so I had to manually do this crap. Came out at a 3, which really was a 2.7 or 2.97. I rounded up to a 3 out of 5. Good night. That was excruciating.
I hate to do this, but I think you got the composite wrong. What'd you say the composite was for us?
7.667. No, that ain't right. That ain't right. Good call.
Mike gave it a 7, and I gave it a 6. Brian gave it a 6. You gave it a 4. I was like, damn, Mike 7 must have weighed heavy on that joint.
5.75. Good call.
I didn't want nobody. I didn't want no listener calling. That boy can't do math.
CTE. It's fine.
No, it's all good, brother. Guys, any final thoughts on the Dylan's New Nightmare before you shout out our blood donors, and I'll announce my pick for next week? All right, shout out to Womp Stomp Films. I really appreciate those guys. They're really cool. I think they do a fine job with fan films, and the potential is there. I'll give them that for sure. Blood donors, really appreciate y'all. Means a lot to us to help us pay these bills. Kemper Level Reoccurring, the Horror Movie Crew podcast, Michelle Mirza, Steve Schmidt, Matt from the UK, and Anthony Andrews. Camp Counselor Reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Davidson, Be Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, Madison Arzola, and Casey Smith. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Really appreciate y'all donating. It means a lot to us. It helps us pay these bills. It takes a huge burden off us. It means a lot to us. My pick for next week, we just interviewed one of the stars of the film. We're going to be taking on 2023's Hell House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor. This movie is scary. I'm excited to review it. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to revisit this franchise. Guys, any final thoughts before we get out of here? All right. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,